Hello folks, we're going to post a series of videos on Maven. Trying to keep these videos below 15 minutes. So once I come up to the 15-minute mark, I'm going to break and then we're going to go to the next video. Guessing about maximum 4 videos, perhaps 3, we should be able to cover a significant amount of material on Maven. The idea of this material is to get you started with Maven, get you functional, so that you're able to compile programs, organize projects using Maven. And if you need some additional information, you can simply Google and read up more on it. So to begin with, how do we get Maven? So if you go to your browser and type maven.apache.org, you can go to the download and download the relevant file. I downloaded the binary zip archive, and after downloading that I exploded it and it is now located in my bin folder. Okay, so that's where it is. So this is where we got the stuff from. Now once we have downloaded Maven, we need to essentially add the bin to the path, so we can call it from anywhere. And we also need to set an environment variable for the Maven home. So we're going to go ahead and do this. So I'm situated in this bin directory here, and I'm going to go into Maven. Okay. So set up the home directory. Again, if you are on Windows machine, you can do it in your system properties, and otherwise you can add it to some login script, and you should have this set up. All right, so let me set this, and then I'm going to also add it to the path. All right, so we're good. Now I have a directory here called Ghoshal Academy. I have a folder here. Let me get rid of this guy. Okay, so I have a blank folder, Ghoshal Academy. Okay, so let me go there. Okay. So one of the first things we need to do is Maven provides standard templates, right? There is basically standard directory structures is going to create for us. So the two things primarily you might use Maven for is one is basically dependency management, right? So you have a jar, and let's say you're going to do some work with Hibernate, and you have a jar, and now that guy depends on 3 more jars, or you may have a logging jar, so it becomes quite a tedious work, and it involves a lot of headache where you're trying to determine what depends on what, and you may have 2 kinds of libraries which have some common jars, and they are of different version, and which one should I include? Do I get the latest one? Then you put the latest one, you write something, and then you got the strange messages. Then you find out, oh, my jar version is wrong and I got to find something else. It can by itself, all that seems like it's a jar is a jar, but once you develop a program and 2 years go by, keeping those things working can by itself be a serious challenge. So one of the things Maven is going to help us with is management of that. So Maven will take it from us. We tell it the entry point dependency, and then it's going to manage rest of the dependent jars for us. And the other thing is, when we set up a project, one of the things we do is we have some best practices on how a particular project should be laid out, right? There should be a web INF, say for a dynamic web project, and it should have this kind of directory structure. Files ought to go there, or if you have a regular program, there are certain ways directories need to be laid out. What Maven does is it has templates. When you say I want a project of this kind, it will put the standard structure in place. So you really don't have to pick and choose and create directories, and you may do it one way and then you run into a colleague and this person is going to say, hey, your layout is wrong, and you got to really have laid out the project this way. So it gets away from all that. Maven does the directory structure handling for us, and it also does the jar dependencies, which is actually the main thing. Okay, so to begin with, what we'll do is we will create a directory structure and get a like a starter uh, class on which we are going to do the programming. So one of the first things you want to do is we will go to the directory where you want to be, then type maven archetype generate, and it gives us almost what now 1575 different kinds of projects you can create, and it is giving us a default of 766. So let's go see what it is. We're going to sort of use that. Before I swing by, let me go a little bit slowly and stop some places along the way, see if we can recognize some of these things. The Spring Framework boot, so if you want to do a Spring Boot data REST service, you could start off with 1461 and you would get all the related structure for that particular kind of program. Okay, so you can go through this. There's several. I know some, but there's a lot I don't know here. Okay, so let me go to 766. So depending on again what kind of application you're doing, again there's some Jersey stuff here which we could potentially use. Okay. All right, so 766. So this is basically a sample Maven project. Okay, so we're going to use this. It's going to create a basic command line type of basic class with a console application. And then once we are done, we're going to come to the 769 and we'll also create a basic web app. Okay, so these are the two things we're going to do. All right, so let's start with our sample Maven project. Okay, 766. So I'm going to hit an enter, take the default. Then in the version, I'll take the latest one. This is 6. Take the default. It's saying the group ID. This is basically sort of the package ID. So I'm going to call it com.goshalacademy.maven. Artifact ID is probably the app name. So I'm going to call it a demo app. It is sort of the project in your Eclipse. Snapshot means it's in development. You can convert it to release when you release the application. The package name is going to add to our class, so we're going to leave it this way. And this is, are you ready? I'm saying yes. And we got a new app here. So one of the main things with Maven is there is this pom.xml. This is sort of the heart of Maven. So as we go along and do different things, we'll come and look at this pom.xml and we're going to edit it. And as you can see that it has source, and it has gone ahead and laid out our directory structure, and it has also created a class. Let's see what it created. And perhaps double click it. So it's basically got the package and a hello world. So it is something very simple. Now let's take a look at the pom.xml. In the pom.xml, there is the group ID, the artifact ID, the version, and the packaging. So the packaging is a jar, as it is standard console app. If you were doing the web application, and we will see that later, it will be called a var for the web archive. And in the dependency section, there is one particular dependency mentioned, which is the JUnit. And because this was mentioned, Maven has also created the test directory structure for the JUnit tests. It has also given us a starter class. Okay, so we have a starter class here, although it's doing nothing right now. It's out there. So if you would build things here, you could then build things here, and go from there. Okay. So good. So we have a demo app. Next thing we want to do is we want to compile the application. Okay. So what we will do is we will do Maven. Okay. So let's see where we are. So we need to go into the app and we need to be in the directory where the pom.xml is there. Okay. So now we are in the right place. So we'll do a Maven compile. And it does the compilation. If it needs to download any kind of jars and things, it will go ahead and download them. But it is good. Then we are going to do the mvn package, and it ran the package. It also ran the tests, and it is good. So at this time, we really should have a jar file somewhere here. So if you open this up, now we see we have a target, and in the target is our jar. So basically, the Maven did the compilation, and it has also created a package for us. Okay. Let's see if this package works. CP target. Go here. Let me see if I can copy this guy. Con.Kushal Academy.maven.app. As you can see, our app is, our class is basically app, right? So, and hello world. So it is working. So all right. So Maven did its thing. Okay. The next thing we are going to do is we will assume that this is going to be application that needs some other jars. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit the class. I'm going to add a dependency for Hibernate, and then we're going to do the same thing, and we will see some jars being downloaded. Okay. So I'm going to pause the video now, and then we will re-record for the next session. Okay.